quote this on me. There is no way the Orioles or Red Sox make the playoffs this season. Yeah, yeah. There's no way. There's no way.
For me, I gotta build a snowman.
I don't think all Mavs fans look into the stats like I do.
I'm mixing names, swapping pitchers' names, and everyone today. So thanks for catching.
I've given up on Drew Lock. I think you trade him.
I set the bar really low at the NBA predictions.
How are we talking about the Thunder in a MLB preview? I have no idea.
That's a perfect name. What you said, name brand players. Like, it's not the great value Target brand toilet paper or whatever. It's the Charmin Ultra Strong.
I don't know if Nick Nurse is the coach for the Raptors. I don't know if he's the reason why they won the 2019 championship. I feel like that was more of a team effort. Yeah, this questions the firing of Dwayne Casey, who I think is a very underrated coach. He's making the best of the Detroit Pistons situation.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I was surprised that the Clippers gave up Lou Williams.
Everything's going wrong for the Lakers at the wrong time.
The Mavs cannot say we do not miss Seth Curry shooting threes.
Them losing like 40 players to the Chargers who play online.
I'm just gonna, and it lands to the Dolphins. I'm just gonna have to throw my hands into the air.
I agree 100%, and the reason why I agree is because this is a terrible trade for the long term.
To me, the Capitals really pushed all their chips for this season. So happy belated birthday to Madison Bowie.
Sam Bennett's someone I really expected to be a better player.
Hello, I'm Mike Grimes, and you've been listening to Outsiders Opinions with Kevin and Austin.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to our MLB Wildcard episode yet again. The Wildcard has been decided, and Red Sox made the playoffs. They made the Wildcard. Made the Wildcard is better because you and I were talking about how it's sort of like the play-in game to the NBA. But before we do that, the main question is, what do you consider a diehard fan? For me, I would not call myself a diehard Cowboys fan. Even though, or maybe now, but like a diehard fan to me is someone who is emotionally invested and has been following this team no matter how bad they are. So I would say I'm a diehard Rangers fan because once they reach the top, which they will, I will be so happy. But like a diehard fan is they have not wavered no matter what. So what were you going to say?
I said only 54 years in the making or whatever it is.
Oh, yeah, it will be there. We got it. Hopefully they spend money. But we got 3 overall pick and 3rd overall pick. So
yeah, we'll see. My definition is very, very, very similar to yours. When I wrote mine was in different wording, but it basically says the same thing. Mine is no matter how good or bad the team is, you are affected emotionally by the results. So no matter if they're good or bad, you are affected emotionally. Just like you said, you're emotionally invested in the team no matter their record. For the Yankees, I could not sleep last night. The night before that, because I'm actually nervous. I feel nerves when they play because I care. I feel like there are some Yankee fans, or some fans for every team, that is only really there when they're really good, and they only really care when they win. They only want to see them win, which I think kind of takes away from the joy of winning. If your team only ever wins, then it kind of takes away from the joy of winning. I love seeing the team after a hard loss getting destroyed 12-2 as the Yankees were, come back the next day and win. It's when you watch the entire 12-2 game and don't turn it off and still watch your team get absolutely dismantled and embarrassed, but the next day you come back, I think you value the winning more. Would you agree?
yes, and like seeing a rebuilding team, like probably for you the Wizards, once like you do have rather be able once you like start getting really really good, and if they win a championship, that like just starting so low and then just getting to the top would be great. Do you think for the Cowboys, like it's just the main thing on my mind because this season feels very different, and now I'm like invested more than I have been. Like, I am believing in the Cowboys right now, which is something I don't think you've ever seen me believe in the Cowboys because I'm like,
I believed in them
we're
more
not
than you
good.
did. I actually had the Cowboys making the playoffs. You can attest for that. We have a
Yeah,
video
I did
about it.
not.
I
Yeah,
had them
I did
making
not.
it.
Dude, we'll have to talk in the NFL opinions episode that we do this week, but I really like what's happening right now.
Yeah. We'll do that video.
So but like I'm probably a diehard Mavericks fan because if the Mavs lose, I will be very upset the next day. Rangers depends. Well, like I understand where we are, but once things start happening, I might still get angry.
In the playoffs, it's much different. You live and die with your team, no matter the odds. No matter if you had the worst record in the playoffs, the best record in the playoffs, it's live or die for me. I don't care what the odds are for the Wizards last year in the playoffs. I don't care that we were down 3-0 or what the circumstances are. I am still live or die on every game, and I don't really. I feel like some fans give up hope and then they stop caring halfway through the playoffs. Oh, we're down 2-0. I'm gonna stop caring. But the Yankees, in my experience, have come back so many times that, and same with the Boston Bruins, same with all my teams. They've come back and they've also blown leads. So I hate when fans are only there for the good times. Only when their team's up 3-0 in the series are they happy. They can't take an 0-2 down. But yeah, I'm emotionally invested. I will be locked up in my room Tuesday night, watching the game, and I will not let anything bother me. I'm going to be 100% invested into this game. Make sure I finish all my homework and stuff beforehand. Get myself probably some pizza and just sit there and watch the game before the end. I'm really excited, and may the best team win. But let's get to the facts. This isn't a predictions episode. Disclaimer: not predictions. This is about the 2 wildcard games. One is on Tuesday, so tomorrow for us taking this video today, and the other one's on Wednesday, October 6th, between St. Louis and the Dodgers. So let's get into this Yankees series or Yankees game.
Yeah, it's great. I was about to transition, but you transitioned. So, AL wildcard, it's Yankees at Boston. The starting pitchers are Garrett Cole versus Nathan Eovaldi, the former Yankee. Some key injuries. JD Martinez is questionable for the Red Sox. Luke Voit is out. That's not a huge blow. The biggest blow to me for the Yankees is DJ LeMahieu being out. So the probable lineups go Yankees have Torres at second base, Rizzo at first base, Judge at third, slotted at third, Stanton as DH, Gallo left field, Urshela at shortstop, Brett Gardner at center field, Kyle
Higashioka.
Shoka. And then Rougned Odor at third base. Wow, that's interesting. Rougned Odor at third base. Then Red Sox, you have Kiki Hernandez, then Kyle Schwarber, Bogarts, Devers, Renfroe, Verdugo, Dahlbeck, Kevin Plawecki at catcher, and then Jose Iglesias at second base. So LeMahieu being out really hurts you. Am I right?
I 100% agree. However, he wasn't having the absolute greatest season this year, and even though he has been a very clutch playoff performer, I really do anticipate this to be a really close-fought game. There are not very every game between the Yankees and Red Sox is always tense. No matter if it's at Yankee Stadium, old Yankee Stadium, or Fenway, which has always been there for the Red Sox. Now the reason why I put Dahlbeck instead of JD Martinez. JD Martinez is a 50-50 chance. If you're a Red Sox fan, you really need him in the lineup. He's been a very quality performer for them this year, and it's definitely going to affect the game. Now, I don't necessarily know if he's going to be in. It's a 50-50 chance. If you want to put him in on your lineup prediction, do it. I just guessed. I feel like he could injure it more running the bases. Obviously, if he plays, he'll be DH, which will move Kyle Schwarber to first, and Dahlbeck won't play. But nothing much is going to change with the lineups. Now, some of you will be confused. Well, why not Christian Vasquez for the Red Sox? Because Nathan Eovaldi, his favorite catcher to throw to is Plawecki. So I feel like Plawecki will start. They've had a good tandem. That's the same thing. Why isn't Gary Sanchez starting? Because Kyle Higashioka is Garrett Cole's primary choice for catcher. So both of these guys, not necessarily their star catchers, but the ones that their aces prefer. Now, let's get to the storylines. Well, what do you think the most important player for each team is going to be in this game?
That's okay. That's tough. And then just to LeMahieu, I was thinking more defensive versatility and how good he is at third base. So maybe how Odor plays at third base. But I'm probably gonna say most important is I want to say Joey Gallo because I know he's been in a tough rut for the Yankees.
Yeah,
But
he's
if he
batted
can-
160 for the Yankees.
and he hasn't really hit a lot of home. He's not the Joey Gallo. He hasn't.
Well,
He's
let
not
me
one of those
let me give you this stat. Joey Gallo has about a 4 point something WAR. He had like 4.4 of it with the Rangers and 0.2 WAR with the Yankees so far. That tells you anything.
So I think that's why he's your biggest player. If he can show up in his first playoff game and hit homers and get on base, draw walks, or hit homers, sometimes he can hit, but it's tough, especially against the shift. I think that will really help the Yankees because Judge is going to show up, Stanton is going to show up, and Rizzo, I think, will do well. But if Gallo is on, I think that really turns the favor into the Yankees or turns the favor for the Yankees. Do you agree with that, or who's your person?
My person has to be Garrett Cole. If a good performance from Garrett Cole, 7 innings. If we can get, I say we, if the Yankees can get 7 innings out of Cole, an inning out of Green or Loizica, and then an inning out of Chapman, they will win the game. If Garrett Cole goes 7 deep and allows 1 or 2 runs, I think the Yankees win. If Cole gives up 5, like he did against the Toronto Blue Jays, I don't think the Yankees win. This Boston team, Nathan Eovaldi is a very good pitcher if he can hold, but I believe he's obviously worse than Cole. So it's going to be that starter matchup, and not to get ahead of myself, but for the Red Sox, it has to be Nathan Eovaldi. This team, we've seen the Yankees recently just swept. They're 9-3 against the Red Sox since the Red Sox started 7-0 against the Yankees to start the season. They have to get to them early. The Yankees offense is either hot or it's not. And if it's hot, the Red Sox will lose. They don't have the same amount of bats, especially if JD Martinez is out, that the Yankees do. The Yankees also have one of the best bullpens in the league. They used to have one of the worst. Now they have one of the best. Jonathan Loizica is very, 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 very good. Best reliever in baseball in my mind. A 2.17 ERA, and after he's come back from a shoulder injury, he's yet to give up an earned run. Chad Green's played better as we gotten late. Obviously, Chad Holmes pitched absolutely amazing. Obviously, Green. Now, if Chapman can pitch well, this is going to be a scary lineup. Now for Boston, like I said, Nathan Eovaldi. I'll go position players for both two. Position player for the Yankees, Stanton. If Stanton hits a homer, they win the game. Stanton just turns the vibe. You can see that once the confidence gets into the Yankees, they can win any game. But that's the issue, I think. We've seen it with Torres, Gary Sanchez, many of their hitters that are hitting bad, especially Joey Gallo. They don't have the confidence. Now, that's the key for the Red Sox. And I'm going to say the Red Sox most important player is Rafael Devers. Devers hit 2 home runs in his last game. He has to hit one. He has to get a big hit. I won't say homer, but I'll say double. Get a good number of RBIs. Xander Bogaerts has been playing bad lately. He's 3 for his last 34 or some terrible number. But I say Devers, most important player. He's been a Yankee killer ever since he's come into the league. So if he can have his big Red Sox moment here, I feel like that'll definitely improve their chances of winning.
Yeah, Devers is the person that hit the 2-run homer at the
Well,
top of the ninth.
he hit 2 home runs in the game.
But he hit the 2-run
Yes,
homer.
yes.
Okay,
Well,
to
yes,
give them the
but
lead.
he also hit another one early in the
Well,
game.
yeah, no, I was just remembering that key moment because that would win the game. Um, that would give them the lead, and they would win the game in the bottom of the ninth. Devers is a good choice. I'm kind of leaning towards Verdugo because I remember how hot he was when the Red Sox were really doing well. So I think if he can breathe some life into them, that will help him. But Devers is a good pick, and I agree with Evaldi. And then JD Martinez definitely helps out, but it also hurts if you have to put Schwarber at first because Schwarber is very unfamiliar, and that goes back to when we talked about deciding to trade for Schwarber instead of Rizzo or another player like CJ Cron, as you and I both predicted. And a little storyline is you told our listeners that the Yankees never had a chance.
Red
No,
Sox.
Boston. Yeah, Red Sox. I know I said Yankees. After being swept by the Orioles, there's no chance they'll make the playoffs. So now they made the playoffs in the MLB. So, and now they're facing your Yankees. So if
Mhm.
they beat your Yankees, I think that's like a double blow to you.
Well, like I said, I don't consider the wild card the playoff, even though it does count. I was wrong, but that'll really prove me wrong. If they beat the Yankees, right now I don't feel that bad because I predicted them to miss, and then they barely get in by the skin of their teeth, including the Yankees. If the Mariners had won that game, the last two games against the last three games, like the Red Sox did, we would be having another tiebreaker where the Red Sox could have potentially missed it anyway, or the Yankees, or the Mariners. We don't really know because the Mariners didn't take care of their own business, while the Yankees and Red Sox obviously did, and that's why they're here and why the Mariners aren't here. But it's really going to come down to if the Yankees can get homers. The Yankees hit homers, they win the game. They don't hit homers, they lose the game. Now, it's not always true. Obviously, last night, or last evening, I guess, the Yankees won 1-0 on a ground up the middle that hit Joey Wendell. Wendell picked it up, threw it to home, and the rest is history. But it's going to come down to homers. And there's some very, very clutch players on both of these teams. I'll just that was Aaron Judge's first walk-off hit. Another player who I think is really clutch, and I keep on saying his name, is Brett Gardner. Brett Gardner had the single that scored two against the Orioles and win that game 4-3. He had a walk-off hit against the Mariners earlier in the season. His batting average may not say it, but guess what Brett Gardner leads the league in offensively?
I'm probably gonna say OPS or OPS.
No. OPS is on base plus slugging. That would
Okay,
not be
is
Brett
it
Gardner.
WRC plus?
No. It's an obscure stat. Brett Gardner leads the league in pitches per at bat.
Ooh,
He forces the most pitches per at bat. So if you're a pitcher, you don't get Brett Gardner out fast. 4.54 pitches per at bat. That's if you have 4 at bats, that is 18 pitches per game to just Brett Gardner. And obviously, if you do 18 times 9, I don't even know what that number is. I can't do it off my head. But that's every single batter. I mean, you can attempt, but I'll just do it in the calculator right quick.
18 times 9. I'm gonna go 102.
162. A pitcher doesn't throw 162 pitches in a game.
Oh, I forgot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot that.
Yeah. But that's a lot of pitches. It's a lot of pitches. It's even above that because again, it's 4.54. So again, Brett Gardner may not get the best batting average, but it does really, really help when you get the starter out fast because you're forcing 4.54 pitches per game or pitches per at bat. Now, I think we can move on to the next game. I feel like we kind of beat that one into the ground.
We covered storylines and then keys to victory you mentioned as well. So, let's move on to Cardinals at Dodgers. You have Adam Wainwright versus Scherzer, and this is kind of a return for Scherzer to St. Louis because he went to the University of Missouri. So he's about an hour to 2 hours away from his alma mater. But big thing is Max Muncy is very unlikely for the Dodgers to play in this wild card matchup even further, but they still got to win this And of course, we know the Cardinals are like 22-8 over ever since I called them out. Am I right?
Yeah, they didn't stop winning for a while.
Well, yeah, but then they lost the game, I think.
Yeah, and then they lost their last 2 against the Cubs, but that's because they were probably resting people.
So the lineup looks like Tommy Edman at second base, Goldschmidt, O'Neill, Arenado, Carlson, Molina, Paul DeHong, Harrison Bader, and then Adam Wainwright. Then you have Mookie Betts, Corey Seager, Trey Turner, Albert Pujols, Justin Turner, Will Smith, AJ Pollock, Chris Taylor, and Max Scherzer. So, big thing here is
Pujols is back
storyline.
in St. Louis.
Yeah.
And I think there's a very good chance he starts. Because Max Muncy's out, and you want a guy who's played first base before to be there. I would not put one of your backup catchers there. I would not put Chris Taylor, even though he plays everywhere there. I wouldn't put Cody Bellinger there. Cody Bellinger's having a very bad year. I would put Albert Pujols. I don't know if he plays fourth. I just put him exactly where Muncy did. Now, he may be down here near AJ Pollock, but yeah, I feel like they go with a lineup that includes Pujols, especially because I would be very, very surprised if Max Muncy played. But yeah, let's move on to the storylines. I'm excited to see Wainwright pitch. Very excited. He is definitely my most important player for the Cardinals. When he pitches, they win. Normally. And I'd have to go the same for the Dodgers. If Scherzer can pitch the way we know Scherzer can pitch, the Dodgers win. Scherzer goes 9 innings. The Cardinals don't score. So I'm going to have to say the most important player on the Cardinals has to be somebody on their offense. I'm going to go Tyler O'Neill. He's been very, very hot as of recently. I just got a notification that he won Player of the Month for the NL. So he's going to be a major impact, and they have to get score runs early. That's definitely their key to victory. Score runs early on Scherzer. Get him out of the game. The best player on the Dodgers is Max Scherzer. Especially because Walker Buehler probably won't be pitching in this game. And their bullpen isn't as good. Urias is a starter too, but they may have him in the bullpen. We'll have to see. But yeah, scoring runs early is definitely their key to victory. The Dodgers, Scherzer. What about you?
Yeah, and I was going to talk about first base. I do agree with Pujols, but maybe Bellinger. But Bellinger, as you said, has not had a very good season. So they're just going to keep him on the bench. Most important players, I'm probably going to say Cardinals. I'm going to go Goldschmidt because Goldschmidt was on fire while the Cardinals were on fire. And you could see his stats. I think, I'm trying to think of the stat. It was like, I don't think it was WRC plus. It was, I think OPS was very high when they were hot. So if he can get hot, I think that will ignite the team. And then Dodgers, I'm probably going to go Mookie Betts because we could tell the difference when Mookie Betts was out of the lineup earlier in the season and when he was in the lineup. And if he's healthy, he's a big reason why they won the World Series last year. You can talk about pitching, but he did an excellent job of just hitting the ball into the field and getting on base. So those are the two people that I think I do agree with Wainwright and Scherzer. You, of course, have Wainwright pitching to Yadier Molina for like the 200th and like third time. So Scherzer, I think he will do well. But if Goldschmidt hits a homer and the Cardinals get to him, then it could be a pain. And maybe we see Urias come in as a reliever if Scherzer has to come out. But it's a very good pitching matchup, and it's a game I'm definitely going to pay attention to. Any other thoughts? Because we've kind of covered up the keys to victory in the storylines.
I just like to mention Trey Turner. He led the league in. He led the entire MLB in batting average. I think he really could be an impact player. I wouldn't be surprised if he had a few big hits, especially because he's playing like the NL MVP.
And I just remembered one storyline, of course, is the Dodgers are playing in the wild card game because they couldn't catch up to the Giants, and they, of course, are 100 million over the luxury tax. They're 100 million into the luxury tax, and they're playing the wild card. And if they lose the wild card to the Cardinals, that, like you mentioned, Trey Turner, you mentioned Scherzer, and all the money they have in these guys, and they don't make it out of the wild card round, and they don't even make the playoffs in our eyes, because this is kind of like a playing game. It's a one shot. That could severely impact how they go into the offseason and what they do. Do you disagree or agree?
I 100% agree. Dodgers have to win. They have to, for the sake of spending that much money. The same reason why the Padres had to make the playoffs and they didn't. They didn't. If we look at the teams who spend the most money this year by total payroll, it goes Dodgers, Yankees, Mets, Astros, Red Sox, Phillies, Angels, Padres, Cardinals, Giants. That is the top 10. Out of those teams, the Mets, who paid the third most, missed. The Phillies, who paid the sixth most, missed. Seventh, Angels missed. Eighth, Padres missed. So a lot of teams at the top miss. That's why I hate when people are like, oh, it's so unfair. They have that much. They can spend that much. They're not spending it right in the first place. The only reason why I get mad about the Tampa Bay Lightning is that I feel like it broke the rule. If you're allowed to have if your team adds up to more than the salary cap, I feel like you shouldn't be able to put that team on the ice. But apparently in the playoffs, you can. You can put them in the LTIR, and then the playoffs, that playoff lineup was over the salary cap. But there is no salary cap in baseball. The Dodgers aren't breaking any rules here. But they are held to the same standard. Tampa, because they were over the cap on that playoff roster, to keep their to stay how do I say this? So that people still respected them as a team, they had to win. You have to. If you are that much over the salary cap, or in this case the Dodgers are this much over the luxury tax, the only team in the luxury tax for that matter, and to be 100 million over only puts it's crazy. But they have to win, or there are going to be a lot of questions asked about what the spending was on, and whether or not in the future we see teams not spend that much money. The Tampa Bay Rays are 25th in salary cap. 25th. Another team that made the playoffs is the Brewers. They're at 19th.
Before you keep talking about the list, I want to guess. I'm pretty sure the bottom team is the Orioles, and I think they're at 75 million.
Their 26 their 2021 payroll for the Baltimore Orioles is 53, and they're 20. It says 28th, which I'm kind of confused about because it only has 29 teams. But the last team it has is the Indians. Let me just sort this out right quick.
Okay, I thought it was the Orioles. But yeah, that's just such a wide gap, and I'll talk about how even if they win this game and they lose in the divisional round, it's bad for the Dodgers. I think you have to at least make the World Series, and maybe you have to win the World Series. And even if you lose in the World Series and you're paying that much money, I think there's still some disappointment. But if you lose in the wild card, it's complete utter or complete disappointment and a huge gut punch because you're paying that much money. Do you agree?
Yeah,
if they
100.
make the World Series, is that okay with you or no?
No,
I think they have to
because
win.
I think that I agree because they just have that standard about them. Another thing to mention is the Dodgers don't really have all that much injuries. I know that Max Muncy just got hurt, but who else is out? If you go, let's for example,
I think Kershaw is dealing with something.
that's
But
true, but
you
he's
are
been
right.
out for 90% of the season, and he's always been really hurt. And he isn't even one of their top three pitchers right now. He wouldn't even, I think, start a game necessarily because you normally only start your top three, and that would be Scherzer, Buehler, and Urias, right?
Yeah.
Because Urias
That
guy
makes
has 20 wins.
Well,
So,
yeah.
I mean, it just.
And then they also have David Price. He's in this
Oh,
one.
yeah, that's true. He's
And they
not
are
hurt,
without
but
Dustin May, but they've been without him for a while. But yeah,
yeah.
those
But if you go
those
into the
two are correct.
season, I think it's much more important if you lose players who aren't pitchers because pitchers, you can get innings out of guys and still not give up runs and still be useful. But if we go just for example, the Yankees, the starting left fielder to start the season was Clint Frazier. He's been out for 1.5 billion years. Career may be over. Our center fielder used to be Aaron Hicks. Remember Aaron Hicks? He's out for the year. He's been out the year. He only played 30 games. Obviously, Voit now is out for the season. LeMahieu's out. Those are guys who we started. That's 4 out of the 8 position players. Out of 8 position players who actually play a position, half of them are out. And that's not an excuse to say if the Yankees lose, oh, it's injuries. It's not an excuse. But the Dodgers not facing all that much injury, picking up guys like Trey Turner and Max Scherzer at the deadline, it's just different. And those players are actually playing well for their new team, unlike Joey Gallo, who for the Yankees is just not been great. Now, Joey Gallo is definitely not going to win a Gold Glove award. Reason why? You have to play 713 innings in a certain position, and I'm pretty sure he played like 600 in right and like 500 in left because of the situation that
switch
yeah.
from
So the only players who could win a Gold Glove for the Yankees, I think, are wow. There's not that many because not a lot of players switch positions. I'm assuming Rizzo counts. Rizzo. He definitely played enough games, but I don't know if it's in that. Maybe not. Maybe because he didn't play 713 in either conference or league, it doesn't count. I don't know. But yeah, I feel like we've taken this on a little bit too long. But yeah.
But yeah, that's our wild card episode where we have not said a prediction. Our predictions will be coming out next for the entire playoffs. So of course we have points, and be on the lookout for that. Thank you for listening to Outsiders Opinions.